Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome into the show that's on in the afternoon. We've got a great guest here to cap off our week.
Pumped, yes.
Heck of a week, heck of a great guest to bring to you guys today. Lauren Peacock is joining us here. Her new book, as you see right here, Female Like She's Comes with Dog.
Oh, I can't wait. You look at this.
I love the name of the book, by the way.
Love it.
Stories about divorce, dating, and saying I do.
Everything that you and I love to talk about.
Yeah, everything that I've got a ton of experience
Me too,
in.
I know.
Yeah. So
good.
I cannot wait to learn from Lauren.
Yeah.
Talk about her life as an author, a producer as well,
I love this. Yep.
and a lot to get into today. This is going to be a fun talk.
And Flagler College alum.
And Flagler College alum.
I
Look
like
at that.
this. Yeah.
Somebody finally did something with that Flagler degree.
There they are.
Very cool. So we will talk to her in just a couple of minutes. And of course, we've got your horoscopes. We have got your events, all the good stuff you expect from us on a daily basis. And we couldn't do it on a daily basis without our great folks from Bozard Ford Lincoln. We appreciate them so much. Great members of our community. And they're celebrating 75 years. Over 75 years, really. They're about to tick over to 76.
You are correct, sir.
Crazy.
Yes.
Right here in our area. Family business the entire time. Out there, you will experience an extensive selection of new and pre-owned vehicles, quick and quality servicing, and they have an amazing parts and accessories shop. Just everything you could possibly imagine for your Ford, you can get out there at Bozard Ford Lincoln's parts and accessories shop. And you got to stop by and get a signature burger at Ford's Garage. I hear the 904 burger's pretty good.
The absolute best. You have to get it.
Yep. They offer services from home delivery to company fleet servicing at Bozard Ford Lincoln. Your family is their family, and they are driven to inspire. Speaking of inspirational, our friends at the Bailey Group. The Bailey Group provides custom solutions for happy and healthy employees. Building the perfect plan to attract high-performing local employees is hard. Making sure that that plan meets legal, regulatory, and other requirements, that's the really, really tough part. You don't want to sort through all that by yourself. I mean, that'll just take you months of research.
I don't have time for that.
No, nobody does.
Let
Literally
them do
nobody
it.
does except for the staff at the Bailey Group.
Right.
That's why you go to them, you trust them. Local insurance advisors, that's so important. And they can help you customize plans for your size, your location, your number of employees, your demographics, everything, all those little intricacies that go into building you the perfect plan. Give them a call. Let them do just that for you. 904-461-1800. And then, of course, our friends at Mara Med Spa. If you are craving the perfect blend of relaxation and rejuvenation, Mara Med Spa is your answer. From luxurious spa treatments to advanced medical aesthetics, Mara's experts will personalize a plan just for you. You can enhance your natural beauty with things like Botox, dermal fillers, laser treatments, and a whole lot more. They do the contouring, they do hair stuff.
Amazing.
Experience top-notch care in their state-of-the-art facility. Feel refreshed and revitalized at Mara Med Spa, 2100 A1A South, Suite 2. Book your appointment now at theamaramedspa.com. All right, Lauren Peacock joining us this afternoon. This is very, very exciting. Lauren, welcome into the studio. Glad to have you here with us.
Thank you so much for having me.
Well, I'm excited to dive right in here.
I know, right?
First of all, what made you want to get into the world of writing books? What made you want to sit down and write a book? What inspired you?
You know, I mean, being creative, just in general, which you cracked me up with that whole Flagler degree doing something, because one of the things in the book, I'm like, you know, the degree, you know, in communications where you like just crush that job market when you get out. But no, so it really started because when I was going through the divorce, I think a big way that I was able to kind of process things was journaling, right? And that, you know, kind of just putting things, you know, on paper with feelings. And so that kind of just turned into, okay, I'm going to tell some friends about some stories. And then someone said, hey, have you thought about putting this into, you know, a book? And because being in entertainment and, you know, liking that creative environment. That's kind of how it all came together.
It's amazing what happens when your horror story becomes somebody else's like survival guide. You know what I mean? Like, so this really is something that resonated with people as far as like your journey. Have you seen a lot of influencing? Have you people come up to you and be like, wow, this really did help me through such a dark time?
Yes. I mean, I think the big word is relatability, because of course there's stories that, you know, everybody has a bad date, but I think I didn't realize that the divorce piece was so relatable, that people are going through breakups, bad breakups or divorces. And even if it ends okay, it's still a loss. It's still a piece of them that's no longer there. And I think, you know, some people feel like they can't talk about it because, you know, are people going to understand, or people kind of going to look bad on me because I've been divorced, or, you know, and that judgment piece. So I think it really allowed more of that conversation to be had.
Which is great. I think it's healthy. Yeah.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
definitely. What's the process of writing a book look like in today's kind of age, and getting it published and all that? Do you think it's easier? Do you think it's a little tougher these days, just with so much saturation of everything everywhere?
I think it's easier in regards to self-publishing. Like anybody can publish, and I chose the self-publishing route. I've learned a lot because of that and how I want to do the second one. But I think anybody can do it. I think, can you do it well though?
Right. True.
And writing, you know, getting a good editor, getting a good team behind you, and taking your time with it, as opposed to, I'm just going to write a book and get it out in a month. And, you know, because I've seen some people do that, and, you know, it may not be, you know, go as well. I mean, this took, you know, from when I started writing the stories about 10 years ago and then became serious about it. You know, the serious process probably took me 1.5 years to make sure that, you know, with the editing, you know, with the design, you know, with the structure. So
Was it fun the whole time, or was there a point where you're just like, oh my God, I'm over this, I just need to get this book out? Or did you have fun the whole time?
well, of course it's not fun the whole time. I think a lot of what's not fun is when it comes time to go back, and when you have to edit something over and over again and you keep seeing it, and it's hard to say, all right, I got to be done with this. It's fine, you know? So stuff like that, I think, and everybody's process is different. And with this second one that I'm writing, which I think dives a little bit more into marriage now that I'm remarried, and relationships in general, and the meaning of relationships, whether it's a friendship or, you know, those interpersonal relationships, I'm slow to start because I'm like, oh, deadlines.
I know,
and like,
right,
you know,
right,
like,
yeah.
oh, we got to do it all again.
Right.
You know?
That's kind of how I feel. Like, I get that. Like, really.
Especially after the pandemic, you're like, oh.
Exhausting. Right. So this second marriage, is there anything in this book that contradicts that, you know, what you put out there? Did you learn something on the second marriage as opposed to the first one?
Oh, yeah, I learned a lot.
Yeah.
Pick the right person. I love you.
Number one most important.
Listen to your instincts when there's red flags.
God bless.
Run.
Yes.
R for R. But I didn't expect to have, when I set out to write this, I didn't expect to have an ending where I found someone. It was kind of going to be more like, I found myself and I'm independent.
Yeah.
And it's funny how that happens, right? When you're not really looking for it, and it, you know, and you hate to be so cliche about it. But I think things that I've learned are, you know, you have to be sometimes selfless, and you have to put somebody else first, and you kind of have to, you know, stop being needy.
Yeah.
And things
What
like
about
that.
relationships that are more platonic versus romantic? Like, is there any kind of weight to saying, like, you know, they're more friends than they are romance lovers? Is there anything to say there?
I mean, you mean in regards to like dates and friendship, like friends that have turned,
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I went out on wonderful dates where on the date, I'm like, this person is a great person. They're just not the fit for me.
Right, yeah.
And I think if you can realize that, and realize, you know, that not every date is going to end romantically, and that's okay, but you learn something from it. Like, there's things where I was talking to people on dates where maybe we were talking about like travel and a place that years later, I ended up going and I remembered stuff we talked about. And I'm like, I was so thankful for those moments and those experiences, as opposed to getting on the date and I'm like, well, this isn't what I was hoping for.
Right,
And being
yeah.
negative about it.
Yeah.
It's like, get to enjoy the moment with learning about a new person and what they're like and what they can bring to the table.
But
in
if
the
you
moment.
don't feel the fire in your guts, right? I'm a
Yeah.
Scorpio, so you know what I mean? Like, I gotta feel it the second I see you.
And I am
yeah,
a
yeah.
Sagittarius. And let me tell you, we are
Yes,
like,
exactly. That's why we're on Wednesdays for horoscopes in the show. Yeah.
but yeah, and it's hard because you know, you get ready and you get excited and it's all this buildup, and then when you get there and sometimes you're let down, it's hard to sit
How
there.
you work through that?
You know, and you're like, okay, well now I've got to sit here for a drink with an hour with
Right.
this guy. And
I try to find similarities. I try to find something like, oh, you like the color green? I don't know. Like, try to find something.
Right. And I think a lot of it is, you know, I do have a personality that's outgoing, and not everybody is like that. But I think if you can start in your mind training yourself to have these kind of just, pocket ideas where it's like, okay, well, if it's not going to go, like, shift your mindset to say, okay, but what could I learn? Because what could I use later? And I think when I started doing that and started realizing that not everybody is for you and you're not for everybody either. And that is how you find the right person. Like, it's kind of like a job, right? Like a job interview.
Right.
And it is work, and it does suck. And, you know, I've had friends that, and a lot of, you know, I spent a lot of time saying, what's wrong with me and why is it not working for me?
I think a lot of people go wrong doing that, right?
And I think once I kind of stopped saying that, like, and just said, you know, I'm just gonna let the chips fall how they fall, and started using humor to it. That's how I found my person. But again, I think, you know, everybody's different, and I can only recommend to, you know, just get out and meet people. And if you're not out there, whether that is out there on a dating site or you're out there just in the community doing activities, you know, people, like, rarely are people going to find you in your DMs.
Right.
Right, true. Yeah, for us laymen. Yeah, right.
Right. But if you're not an influencer,
Right,
they're
we
not.
have the
Yeah,
global check, I know.
yeah. Well, it is such a different dating landscape than, like, say, when our parents were growing up. You know, it was bring roses to the door and open the car door.
Right,
And now
yeah.
now it is all this, much of it's online. And there's still, in the back of my head, I still even have this stigma of, I don't want to do online dating. You
Right.
know, it's not for
True.
me. It's internet dating. It's weird. It's creepy. But
It's gonna happen
it
at
is-
Publix. You pick up the same grapefruit at the same time. Yeah.
right? But it's so different. So for our generation, it's such a weird, you know, all that advice our parents gave us on dating is just almost invalid these days, right?
Well, and I tried a lot of different ways. I mean, I was putting myself out there. I was doing speed dating.
God bless
you
ya.
know?
God bless
I mean,
ya.
some guy brought his Chipotle to
Really?
speed dating. He brought his snacks.
That is hot.
And he didn't share. And I
Oh,
was like, what in the world? He
He's
just like
outta here.
I was like, this is. But it's stuff like that that's hilarious because you're like, is this really happening right
yeah,
now?
yeah.
Like, trying to have a conversation and you brought snacks. And so, but I think that's kind of the point is like, if you, whether it's just because you have online profiles and you are seriously trying doesn't mean that you have to give up joining a kickball league and trying to meet somebody there. And I think if you are going to go with online dating, you need to take it seriously. Like if you truly want to find somebody. And
Yeah.
I think it's kind of like Love is Blind, right? You can tell the people that are actually serious about
yeah.
being there and wanting to find a partner and the people that are
Just
just
there to
wanting
hook
their
up.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
what are one-line pickup lines? Are they dead now? Is that just that you? What if somebody did that to you?
I
and you
remember
were-
being like 14 and Googling pickup
Right.
lines. Like, oh, I got to find one that'll work.
But what did work? What
Nothing,
Did you,
because I always found the cheesiest ones, the
Are you a
worst.
parking ticket? 'Cause you have fine all over you. Yeah.
Right. Did it hurt when you fell from heaven? And it's just, oh,
You must be
really?
exhausted because you've been running through
Through
my mind all day.
well, and I think the ones like that, like now, I think you can make so many jokes back that are. I mean, I've friends of mine that I've talked to about their online profiles or people that have come to me and things like that. I'm like, make them funny. Don't you know? You can still do like a line or like, I mean, the ones that are kind of boring are like, "Hi, I'm looking for my partner in crime." Like, oh, God, sorry if you're out there and you do that.
You
but-
gotta give me some excitement.
Spice it up.
But you know, a friend of mine, she decided to get back online. This was right after Christmas, and she had a questionnaire. I think it was on Hinge, or something. And I said, "Go for it."
Yeah.
Do you? I was like, "You like Princess Bride? You like these things?" I'm like, make with some of these questions, make references to things that are. I think one of them was, is it the poison or whatever that they use? So like, use some of these little, see if somebody catches these little things here.
That's gonna be a good
And
match.
sure enough, somebody caught it, and his first question was like a joke about like taking her to like the cliffs of whatever.
Perfect.
And I'm like, and
That's
now they're
awesome.
dating.
That's an
and
icebreaker,
they've been
yeah.
together for like a month, and she's really happy. So
That's genius.
That's a fun way to find somebody you can relate to on
Right.
different
That's a
levels.
because
genius
if they're
way.
gonna one, read your profile, right? So you know that they're paying attention, and two, it shows they have a sense of humor. And so, and again, that's what I did, because I was at the point I was like, well, at this point, you know, maybe I'll find somebody, maybe I won't, but if I do, they're gonna understand, and that's where the female likes cheese.
Yeah.
You know,
I love that. Yeah.
and went
Comes
on
with
to,
dog. Yeah.
and likes, you know, dates and stretchy pants and blah
Yeah.
blah blah. So.
That's cool.
So you've got to have some great dating stories, just some hilarious dating stories. And was there a point where you were going on dates, almost thinking in the back of your mind, I hope this turns into a good story for the book?
I think it was like I would say I was always hopeful that it wasn't gonna be one of those, but
Really?
probably you would know about 15 minutes in,
Oh yeah.
and then you're like, all right, it's gonna be one of those.
Yep.
So
Totally. Absolutely. I get it.
so like I went out with this guy. I went out with him twice because I was like, okay, I'm gonna give him a second chance.
Okay.
But he made a living winning game shows. Like that's
Really?
just what he did. Like
Okay.
Live in
Made a
Vegas?
living.
Yeah. Do you live in Vegas or something? Like,
no,
oh.
he lived in Los Angeles, and
God bless you.
he made a living. And
Like Price is Right? We talking like okay?
yeah,
Okay. Wow.
Price is Right, and a couple of the other ones. And at this point, I don't even know because there's so many game shows.
Oh God
and-
bless you.
Right.
No whammy. No whammy.
Yeah.
I don't know
But-
them all. Yeah.
But I thought he was joking at first. Because I was like, you know, you talk about like, oh, where are you from? What do you do? And, you know, your little normal questions. And then when he was being serious, I was like, how can you really? But like, you do, you do you.
You do you. Right.
So,
Yeah.
Jeez.
yeah. And we
What's
always
his claim
went,
to fame? Like a specific time that he won like some big pot that kept
but I
him.
don't even know if it was that big.
Oh wow.
Because I'd been to his place.
Yeah.
Right.
They're not giving away hundreds of thousands of dollars on these
Like,
game shows.
You
gotta
know,
pay the taxes.
you're living
Yeah.
in the basement of a studio. You know, and we always went to the same. The two times we went out, we went to the same place, and I was like, "Well, we're not really like."
Branching out here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I was like, I don't know. So
Maybe a Cipriani's moment. Yeah, that'd be nice.
So divorce, obviously something you cover. And how did that change your perspective on dating?
Yeah.
I was like, I did the typical rebound, like, oh, I got to get out there, and you know, I'm fine. And all those stages. And I think I kind of had to do that to realize, ooh, I don't want to repeat the same patterns. But I figured it out really quickly. And that's what, you know.
Were you more cynical on the second round? Like, were you like a little snarky at first because you did have the divorce? Were
I
you
was
judging
hurt.
yourself on that?
I was hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I mean, I was out there, but I was also like, oh, don't you burn me.
Right,
You know?
exactly. I'm ready. Angela Bassett ready, yes.
I think I'm ready, but no.
How Lauren got her groove back. Yes.
So it was very weird. And I picked, I picked somebody to kind of fall for, and that did not turn out well.
Okay.
Because I was desperate. I wanted not the person that I had, but I wanted what we had. Like I wanted that, relationship and somebody to go do things with and holidays and all of that.
Were you feeling social pressure to get
Oh
married?
no,
Okay.
no. My parents were very supportive of the fact that like I had.
So I have friends that married out of convenience. I'm going to be honest with you, and that's the truth. And like they just felt that pressure because everybody else in the friends group is married. I've got to get married too, so I can fit in. Do you ever feel like that in your social circles?
I didn't. But I agree. I do see that happen, and I see people stay.
Yeah, I
in
do. Yeah.
relationships out of convenience, and you see friends, and you feel bad because you're like, oh,
You're trapped almost. Yeah.
yeah, this isn't a great situation, but you have to let people, again, be in those situations and live their
Learn.
life, and
Yeah.
you can't. Yeah, but I was able to. I think I had to have a couple situations happen. And for me to take a step back and say, okay, ooh, this is not going well.
Yeah.
And I'm recognizing it. And I was in therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that is something I strongly recommend to anybody who's going through a divorce, even if you've never, gone to therapy before, because there's things that are going to come out that you don't realize that may be stuff from childhood or
Yeah.
from other relationships.
There's a
and-
message in the mess.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
And so that I think really helped me to say, okay, maybe I'm not going to date for a little bit, or how am I going to date differently?
Mm-hmm.
And I think there was a point where then I wasn't as focused on, okay, I'm going to date to get married as much as I'm going to date to find the right person.
True. That's a whole different paradigm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So how did you know, and when did you know the guy you're with now was the guy? How'd you
Good
find
question,
him?
Pete.
And what was that feeling? What was that moment where you're like, okay, this one's different. This one might be the one.
So at the time I had a business partner who was from the UK, and he and I had met up we were doing some work stuff, and he was in Atlanta and I was in LA, and he was like, oh, have you thought about online dating? And I was like, I'm not getting back on that again.
God bless.
Yeah.
And he said, no, like, what about international dating? Because you travel a lot for work, and you do like going over, to overseas to UK and Europe. And I, scoffed at that. But I was like, maybe. And so I had just come off a show. I decided to, look at some, international dating sites. They were all the same, right? Like Match and stuff like that.
Sure.
But one popped up called datebritishguys.com.
Okay.
Okay,
And
pretty
I
straightforward
thought
name.
this was a joke.
Wow.
And I get on it, and it's like, it feels like it's from like, the 90s, like AOL 2.0.
Oh my
I was
goodness.
like, what is this? And so I was like, this has got to be a joke. And I signed up, and, you have your little profile, and it was hilarious. And I talk about this in my book about signing up. And so I created the female likes cheese, comes with dog, and my whole thing. And what was great was it wasn't an app. So you couldn't obsessively check it. You had to get on your computer.
Oh, whoa.
Like
Okay.
or you would have to actually type it in.
Right,
Get
and
to the
yeah.
all this
browser
stuff.
on
So
the
you
yeah.
couldn't
mess,
do
yeah.
that. So I think that was like good because you couldn't just be out and check or
Right.
get a notification. So I would check it.
You literally
once a
come
day.
back, center yourself, then open it up, and like, yeah.
Right.
Cool.
And so
Interesting.
my now husband had come across, this is like one night late, I was working on a project. He'd come across the screen. So I read his profile, and he looked cute, and I winked at him. And so he wrote me a message, and we started talking, and we talked for about a month before I went over, and I was going over anyway to England, and we met, and
you met over some tea.
well, stranger danger. I would like told everybody in London. I was like, "This is where I'm going.
Yeah, right.
This is what he looks like." I'm like, he sent me where he works.
Right,
you know?
right, yeah.
So he
Get
was really
it.
good about that. Like I felt really safe.
Cool. Okay.
But it was weird. It was before COVID, so it was before Zoom and internet, like all this like FaceTime dating
Right.
had really happened. So we'd kind of already been doing that to establish, I think, a relationship, kind of like Love is Blind, but we could see each other, and it really felt like a friendship. I mean, we really established a friendship. And
Jokes were popping. Everything was nice.
yeah. I mean, he cracked a apothecary table from Friends joke right away, and then that was, we were in love.
There it is. Love that.
And so yeah, and I would say that first weekend, he's the one that brought up, "Where's this going?"
Yeah.
I was like, well, I don't need a pen pal.
Yeah, right. There you go. There you go.
So yeah, and then and we actually got married about 100 days later.
Awesome.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
so cool.
awesome.
So we just, because I was in my 30s, he was 5 years older than me, and it was like,
you know when you know.
We just knew. Yeah.
So Lauren, I've got to ask you. Do you ever go backwards in relationships? Like, what if an ex slides in your DMs or they're peeping back up on you and stuff? Do you ever go backwards? Would you advise that, or always move forward, find something fresh and new?
Good question.
I think it depends on who the person was.
Okay.
Like who the ex was. I think there was a guy that I kind of had a thing. I mean, this was in between the divorce and my new husband. There was a guy I kind of had a thing for in high school, and we kind of chatted kind of in between, and it just didn't feel the same.
Yeah.
So you can't force something that's not there,
Right.
as much as you would love for it to happen. So I think but I know a lot of people that it has, where they were,
They need to take a
dated
break.
a little bit, and then like 20 years later or 10 years later, it's worked out. But I think if there's been hurt and trust broken, I think chances are probably not gonna work out again.
Yeah.
But
you know the feeling, like you said. Yeah.
What do you think defines love? We hear all the time you should marry your best friend. And so is that love? Is that just that person you connect with on that mental and physical level? I think a lot of people look for, I did when I was younger, you watch movies about love and they do the music just right and they do the shots just right to where it gives you this feeling that you might not necessarily feel in real life, right? So what do you define as love?
Well, movies aren't real.
Right,
I mean, I can tell you exactly what we do, when we make them. But I think it is really interesting, the differences of the first and the second marriage, and, having the dream wedding, and, everything seemed so perfect, and I didn't feel like he was my best friend. I don't think I told him as much as I tell my current husband, but I also know that what works for me may not work for somebody else on their feelings. Everybody, I think, I'm not a big religious person, but there is that book, The 5 Love Languages. And I do think everybody has certain love languages that are important to them. And I think that's really important in a relationship, on how you feel loved and treated. So whether or not it's this feeling of, we feel close and we feel friends, along with some of the physical, intimate stuff, or
are they challenging you? Are they pushing you?
Right.
Are
they supporting you? Are they making you feel like you are special on a daily basis? And that doesn't necessarily mean it has to be tangible items. I think at the end of the day, when you go to bed, do you feel like that person is going to be there for you emotionally as much as they are physically, I think.
So Lauren, I'm watching this show. It's total dog water. So like I'm folding laundry at the same time. Couple to Thruple. Have you seen this yet?
No, tell me that.
Oh, it's on Peacock. And it's very interesting about these couples, and they're trying to find a third person to like grow within like their community of love. So of course I start this program like, oh, this is ridiculous. Absolutely not. This is
Now you're hooked.
now I'm hooked, because it really seems like they're found this person that is a total balance in their mix. Like one needed more sexual energy and one needed, more compassion. And so like they're that person. Have you ever seen a throuple before? I've never
Well, now I've got to watch it.
Okay.
I actually know some couples that have open relationships.
Yeah.
And it works for them. I mean, I don't think it could work for me.
It couldn't work for me. Yeah.
Just because I'm a jealous person.
I sure do like to watch it.
But I know of people that are in open relationships where they have boundaries, and they've set the rules in advance.
Yeah, you don't break the rules. I learned that too on the show. You break the rules, you're out. It's like a thing.
Yeah,
It's like,
yeah.
okay,
And
geez.
I've known, not just the throuple, but I've known people that are swingers and that have those relationships. And again,
That's the upside down pineapple we know in town. Yeah.
if that is something that works, I don't know how sustainable in the long run it is in regards to what, like, if one out of the group is going to feel needed and cared for in the long run.
Yeah.
But if that's something that's going to make your relationship better in the short term for something that's lacking, then go for it. Like, who am I to judge on what someone else needs in a relationship?
True. Yeah.
And I think, again, I think we're living in a non-traditional world where a lot of other things are accepted that probably weren't in other times. But I think it really just depends on the individuals and what works for them.
That's great.
So.
And you mentioned boundaries. Setting boundaries seems to be such an important trend, not only in dating, but across so many parts of our
Any
lives.
relationships, friendships, work
Communication,
relationships.
Yeah.
I think
And people have trouble doing that sometimes.
Yeah.
And that works to their detriment,
Absolutely.
I believe, because then just things happen and you're just sitting there hurt, but the other person doesn't even know what's going on. They don't even understand what's going on in your head. So setting those boundaries has to be important, right?
I would say I think Gen Z is really good about that. Millennials, we didn't learn anything about boundaries.
Right.
But, I mean, you can just tell by us working 100-hour work weeks
Right,
and,
yeah.
and just
Go,
getting
just
trampled
keep
on.
going. Right, yeah.
But I think that was one of the things that was a blessing after the divorce was learning how to set boundaries, how to say no, when to say yes.
Yeah. There's power in your no.
Yeah, and that it's okay and
Yeah.
you shouldn't feel guilty. But yeah, I think learning how to set them in any relationship is a really good thing.
Yeah.
So cool.
Yeah. Lauren, this is, I can't wait to pick this up and read through this.
Great,
This
great.
has been such a fun talk.
Yeah,
Is
thank
there,
you so much.
you are going to be, there's an audio book version of this. Actually, that might be the one I pick up, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, because, some people, reading, some people love it and some people are, podcast people
That's
and,
me.
when
Yeah.
they're in the car driving to work. So we did an audio, I don't know if you're One Tree Hill fans, but Millie that played Brooke's friend at the fashion boutique. She read it.
That's
I
her.
hired her to do it. So
Good
you don't
for
have to
you.
listen to my voice. You get Millie from One Tree Hill.
Good for you. That's great. That's so
That's
cool.
awesome. And you're doing a book signing coming up soon too, right? So if people want to meet you, get the book signed.
Yes, tonight from 5 to 8 at Ancient City in downtown. So
Yeah, Britta out there, Ancient City Brewery. She's going to be setting you up, and this will be a fun night. So if they don't have the book, do you have like swag too to sign?
yes,
Because I know they're going to
so,
want your autograph.
Yeah, if you get an audiobook, just bring proof that you got one, and I'll give you some signed swag.
Fabulous.
And, but there'll be a lot of things there, and I'm looking forward to meeting some new people in St. Augustine. And I love coming here. It's it's like home, right?
True.
I mean, it's like a good home week.
Yeah.
When the door's open.
Yep.
Lauren Peacock.
Yes.
Female Likes Cheese Comes with Dog is the name of the book.
So cool.
Thank you for being here, Lauren. This was a lot of fun.
Thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun.
We'll put link in comments where people can find the book. Thank
Awesome.
you so much. sir.
Cool. Good deal. Man.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to learn a lot from this book,
I
baby.
think so.
Really do.
Great chat. I enjoyed that thoroughly. That was fun.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. Hey, speaking of a lot of fun
Okay.
and downtown St. Augustine, you can hop on with our friends at the Old Town Trolleys. Maybe you'll meet the love of your life when you hop on an Old Town Trolley.
That
It might
sounds
be the
nice.
place.
Could be.
And if you're a St. Johns County resident, you're always going to tour free when you are accompanied by a full fare adult paid guest, which is great. All you got to do to take advantage of that is to sign up for your Hometown Pass today at hometownpass.com. Very simple. Your Hometown Pass can also be used at the Old Jail, Potter's Wax Museum, the Oldest Store Museum experience. Old Town Trolley's free Hometown Pass, the best way to entertain visiting guests, friends, family, all that. Hop on a green train this weekend. They're the Old Town Trolleys. We love them.
You can't entertain guests without air conditioning. I'm going to tell you that
That's
right now.
the truth.
For 45 years, All American Air has been serving St. Augustine and its surrounding counties, including St. Johns, Flagler, Duval, and Putnam. Their areas of expertise include warranty and non-warranty service work on all makes and models of AC units. They have preventative maintenance service agreements, new construction, installations, and equipment replacement with high-efficiency systems. From the most efficient Lennox home systems to the iComfort Ultra Smart Thermostat, All-American Air has the latest and greatest of all your HVAC products. Check them out today, 904-461-0070.
And of course, some wine might help you find love.
Yeah,
Hey, get a little bit
definitely.
tipsy.
That's
and
it.
yeah, man.
Loosen it up.
Head down to our friends at Bin 39. Irving and the staff are going to help you find your new favorite wine down there at Bin 39. And once you find your new favorite wine, you can relax in their courtyard, on their patio, and just sip the day away.
Yeah.
Just have a great relaxing time out there in their courtyard, just tucked off there in the cut off of St. George Street. Great little place to hang out. They have over 85 wines, 50 of those rated over 90 points by Robert Parker. I know that's a big deal.
Big deal.
Big deal. Check them out and give them a call. See what you can expect. 904-827-5740. All right, sir, it is Friday, so I am up on deck.
And Clay, how you going to
And
do that on his
Clay,
birthday?
I know.
Ah.
Well, we'll just skip Pisces today. How about that? That's fine.
Get out
by
of jail.
me.
You can. You're the boss.
Oh, no, man. Let's roll with this, Clay. Let's see what's in store for us on our birthday weekends. All right, Capricorn, we're going to start off with first. Ease into it. Today, Capricorn, your ambition will lead you to climb the ladder of success backwards. It's a unique approach that only you could think is a good idea. Keep aiming for the stars, even if you're looking the wrong way. Pisces. Today, Pisces, you will be in your element, lost in a daydream and avoiding reality at all costs.
That's perfect.
Yeah, right. It's a talent, really, how you manage to swim away from responsibilities with such grace.
Oh, man. Because you're not going to be here Monday. You're missing Spring Forward on Sunday.
Oh.
What a smart man to have a birthday on March 11th.
Yeah, it was my choice. All my choice.
Great
I was
job.
thinking ahead.
You knew it. Spring Forward, guys. Everybody, make sure you make a note. This Sunday, March 10th, is we lose an hour of sleep, but we gain daylight in the evening time, so a lot of people get excited for that, too.
Yeah, they do.
And a lot of people get excited for the St. Augustine Bird Expo.
Uh-huh.
That's coming up Sunday, March 31st from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. Admission is $5. Children 10 and younger get in for free.
Okay.
This is happening at the Renaissance St. Johns County Convention Center, World Golf Village, 500 Legacy Trail. We know where that is. I'll put the link in comments if everyone wants to show up and show out at the St. Augustine Bird Expo.
All right. Yeah, right. You did a lot to make that sound exciting. They appreciate that.
That's right. Hold on there. Lucas Love's Legacy Golf Tournament's coming up. This is scholarships to benefit St. Johns County students. This is happening Friday, May 31st. So get your team together. Check-in is, of course, is at 7:30 a.m. It's $150 per player, $600 per foursome. All proceeds go to support the Lucas Love Scholarship Fund. Register now, lucasloves.org.
All right, good stuff, man. Some good stuff coming up.
Very nice.
Yeah, speaking of very nice, Panoche.
Yes.
They opened their doors in 1987 through when I was 3.
Well, very good.
I know, they've been around literally forever for me.
True.
Their mission at Panoche is to care for their team, their guests, and their community from scalp to soul and bring joy to the world one service at a time. They wouldn't have been around forever if they weren't doing that impeccably. Their carefully chosen and highly trained staff is there to exceed your expectations. The same goes for their elegant salon space. They're always upgrading that salon space too as well.
Absolutely.
Always making changes to make it more luxurious.
And efficient.
Yeah. They're dedicated to guest comfort and devoted to innovation and artistry. They're focused on making your day and continually raising the bar. They are also proud to align with Aveda's mission of ethical and sustainable business practices and their high fashion aesthetic. They share Aveda's exceptional standards of quality products, treatments, and guest care. Check them out today. Go to getpanoche.com or just stop in right in there in the Island Publix Plaza.
Very nice. And get aligned with the United Way of St. Johns County. They're a champion for our community. Together, they create opportunities, foster education, and improve the lives of those in need in our community. From empowering children to succeed in school to providing vital resources for families in crisis. The United Way of St. Johns County is at the forefront of change. They always have been, tried and true. By investing in education, health, and financial stability, they're building a stronger, more resilient community for all. It's incredible when we live united.
That's the truth. All right, man. Great week of shows.
Yes, sir.
Thank you very much for putting together a great week of shows, sir.
Very nice.
Thank you to Clay for pressing all the buttons for a great week of shows, and you guys out there for watching. We appreciate you. Davey, Clay, and Troy, we'll see you Monday morning.
There we go. Bye, everybody.